What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got more reactions slash first thoughts, impressions, reviews on a movie coming out, and this one is for Dune Part 2. I mean, this one's highly anticipated. The first movie was huge. I mean, it's adapting one of the biggest, if not the biggest, sci-fi story ever created, so influential, and there's a lot of people, including myself, that are looking forward to this second part. But before we cover the reactions coming from the Dune 2 premiere and people that have just got to see it early, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and click that bell. All three for free, and it helps out the channel a ton, especially if you like this type of content, you know, covering this type of stuff, whether it's movies, pop culture, trailer reactions, movie reactions, reviews, all that jazz. Go ahead and do those three if you like this type of content. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop straight into these reactions. The first one we got comes from Diego, who says, Dune Part 2 is a monumental cinematic achievement, greater than Part 1 on a narrative, technical, and thematic level. Villeneuve delivers with grander ambition, aided by an extraordinary, morally complex performance from Timothée Chalamet, the first must-see blockbuster of the year. The next one we have comes from Courtney Howard, saying Dune Part 2 is jaw-dropping, breathtaking, and wildly exhilarating. It's an adrenaline rush to the head and heart, soaring in its spectacle-driven action sequences as much as it sings in its refined, evocative stillness. Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya turn in singular work. Now, these reviews, get prepared because they're insane. I mean, people are saying such great things about this film. It's only gone up in the critics' consensus, and it's just insane. But this is another reaction talking about Chalamet's performance and just how huge and jaw-dropping and breathtaking. These are huge words. This is why we go to the cinemas. This is why we go to movie theaters, to actually experience something, you know, put us in a world, make it immersive, and it sounds like this film does nothing short of that. But the next one we got comes from Wendy from the Movie Couple, who says, Dune Part 2 is one of my most anticipated movies of 2024, and it exceeded my expectations. A masterpiece. Sound design and cinematography is incredible. I can't get over how talented Timothée Chalamet is. The action sequences are epic and loud, must be experienced in the theaters. I was just talking about that, but can we talk about the fact that she called it a masterpiece? That is insane praise, arguably if not the highest you could get for a film, and it just sounds like this film is incredible on a scale, on, you know, the acting side, the narrative side, the culmination of this two-part story that Denis Villeneuve is trying to tell. It seems like it's extremely satisfying in both experience and just as a film in and of itself. And obviously everyone so far has just been talking about the film on a technical level, the sound design, the visuals, the effects. I mean, we definitely expected this. The first movie brought that in spades, and it seems like this movie does it as well, if not even better. The next one we got comes from Sean O'Connell that says, Dune 2 is masterful filmmaking on an epic scale. Denis Villeneuve marries gripping character development to vast, sweeping cinematic visuals, and the cast evolves in their roles. I slightly prefer the simpler Dune to this complex chapter, but still a towering achievement. So it seems like Sean wasn't super over the moon and kind of immediate to call this better than the first part, as you know, everyone else that we've covered so far has. But even Sean here is praising the film on all levels, which is obviously great to hear. We've got another one coming from FICO saying, Dune Part 2 is glorious, a cinematic masterpiece in all its splendor. Villeneuve has outdone himself, even better than Part 1, more action-based, thus more epic, breathtaking moments, truly delivers chills. The production and filmmaking are God tier. Give me Part 3. People want more. I mean, I woke up the other day after the review embargo lifted and the movie debuted at like a 94 with I believe around 60 reviews or something like that, and it's only gone up. Rare do you see a movie go up in critic consensus the more critics submit their reviews. It's now at almost a 100. It's at like a 98 or something insane on Rotten Tomatoes, which is absurd. I watch this movie next week on Friday in IMAX, and you guys will of course hear my thoughts, but this sounds magnificent. Our next one comes from Joseph Delkelmeyer saying, Dune Part 2 is a cinematic masterpiece. This is a must-see on the biggest IMAX screen you can find. Parts of this movie made me feel like I was in the film. This isn't a movie, it's an experience. Denis Villeneuve is a master storyteller. Get ready for an epic cinematic journey. I mean, I couldn't be more ready. Like, I am so excited to see this film. I've been for a while. This was definitely in my top 5 anticipated this year, and it's only shot up after these reviews. But we got another one coming from Eric Eisenberg, who has said, having watched Dune Part 2, I can say I have ridden a sandworm. It's a magical experience, and the faithful adaptations fans have been waiting for, albeit with some smart changes. A fascinating examination of sultry and post-colonial politics wrapped in a breathtaking blockbuster. I mean, this movie seems like it is just everyone's cup of tea. I will say, the one thing about the first movie was it put some fans off on it because it was part 1. It was doing a lot of setup for the world, the characters, and how these conflicts are going to ultimately have a satisfying conclusion, and how the experience of both will ultimately feel well put together. But having them separately just creates that barrier for some audiences who will only watch the first movie and maybe will think it was too boring and not quite be completely invested, thus them not being interested in this second part. Now, I'm not part of that group. I thought the first movie was magnificent in how dense it was, but yet how it was building this world out, fleshing out these characters and these conflicts, and just how well it did it while also keeping the technical level of the movie extremely high. The visual effects, I believe it won for that year, but they were top tier. The visuals alone, just in general, Greg Fraser did amazing work on that movie, and the costume designs. I can go on and on about how on a technical level Dune Part 1 exceeded my expectations, and it makes me very excited to see the second part, knowing there's a lot more happening in this film due to the first part having to do a lot of setup. But it just sounds insane. I'm going to talk about 3 more and then we can close this video off. But Emily Murray says, arguably Denis Villeneuve's magnum opus, Dune Part 2 is a masterpiece, throwing you right into the action. It is totally immersive, gripping, and ultimately devastating. Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya have never been better. Just truly remarkable filmmaking. I'm in awe. Another one from Jake Hamilton from Jake's Takes, who does great interviews, by the way. You guys should go watch them. But he says something crazy here. He says, when Lord of the Rings ended in 03, I was worried we'd never have a movie experience like that ever again. I was wrong. Now we have Dune. Part 2 isn't just bigger and better than Part 1 in every way. It cements the series as one of the greatest cinematic experiences ever. You don't just throw that out. That is absurd praise, and just only makes me even more excited for this film. The last one we have comes from Shabazz over at the Movie Podcast. I love them. I love the content they make over there. Go check them out if you guys have not. They do wonderful interviews. And overall, they just do really good things over there and related to, the movie content and just this overall, like, social sphere. Love those guys. But he says, Dune Part 2 is the big screen epic you've been waiting for. A massive leap forward in sci-fi storytelling crafted by the talented Denis Villeneuve. Breathtaking visuals that are begging to be seen in IMAX. One of the best sequels of all time. Once again, the words and the phrases that people are using to describe this movie is just absurd, and it's on a level where it seems like we have something truly, truly special here. People are saying it's an experience, it's magical, it's a masterpiece, and these aren't words we just throw around. I remember like the last movie I remember them saying this about was Avatar: The Way of Water, Top Gun, maybe even RRR. And these are all-time movies. It really does feel like we have something nearly generational with Dune Part 2. Like, it seems like this will be our Star Wars, or the new thing that will inspire tons of young filmmakers, the experience that we've all really been waiting for. And that is just something extremely exciting to hear. You know, we hear a lot of this news of blank is getting remade, or blank is going to be turned into a live action product, and it just really feels like Hollywood at this point has just ran out of ideas. And while yes, Dune is an adaptation, it sounds and is taken with complete care. And I know Denis Villeneuve is not the type of artist to just throw stuff at the wall, and the fact that some people are calling this his magnum opus, his best work yet. I mean, he's done movies like Sicario, Blade Runner, 2049, Prisoners, like all-timer movies. And when you're saying stuff like that, you don't just say it. You know, you don't just throw those words out. You have to mean it, because the expectations that come with that are extremely huge. And yeah, I just can't wait. There's a lot more reactions that came from the premiere and people that watched it early. I'll put them on screen right now. You can pause the video if you want to read all of them, but it's pretty much just praise for the technical side, the story they're telling, the experience, and how you have to watch this on a big screen. And thankfully, I will. I can't wait to watch this. But you guys tell me in the comments below what you guys thought about the first part of Dune. And if you're excited for part 2, are you going to go see it? Does this make you more excited? Anything. I love discussing with you guys in the comments below. And if you made it this far and you haven't, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and click that bell if you like this type of content. It helps out the channel a lot, and all three of those things you can do for free. But other than that, guys, it's been your boy 𝙎𝙬𝙎𝙚, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next one.